Hello everyone, and now we're moving on to talk about the business side of the Mason family of artists, and that is the F.E. Mason Seal Company, which Frank Mason started here in Batavia. After leaving the Baker Cunning Company, which he was an engraver with, he struck out on his own in the first decade of the 20th century, and took his artistic talents and expanded it and brought his children in, as well as many other artists that became rather famous in our local area. So they started out at the Continental Hotel on Main Street, sort of an improvised shop where they started making the seals that they would make them famous. But eventually they moved to 50 Franklin Street and opened up their factory there, where it lasted several decades. Eventually became Turnbull Heating today. Frank ran the business, but eventually worked his children in. All three, Roy, Nina, and Max, became important players with the business, but it was Max that would eventually take over the business after Frank's death and would run it until his retirement. Now Roy would also help, especially with the artistic side of it, but Max was, I guess, the businessman of the three and made it into a very respectable and successful company. They would go on to employ a lot of artists that would become well known and become steadfast members of the Batavia Society of Artists. George Mahaney, Richard Ware being a couple of them, along with Rosalind Hayes, just to name a few. So it was not only a very successful seal, embossing, and stamp company, but it also employed the artistic talent of Genesee County and allowed them to flourish, and eventually lasted until the 1970s. So it was a very successful and long-lasting company here in Batavia.